Okay, now we're going to take a look at second normal form. This is one step above first normal form. And just to refresh, here's our student info table, which is a table in first normal form. And the problems with it was it has a lot of duplication of information. We duplicate the names. We duplicate the date enrolled for a person, and here we have an example of it being inconsistent between two records. Clearly, a person has only one date enrolled, but this person's date enrolled is stored in two different ways. Over here, we have information technology spelled this way and that way. So there's lots of opportunities for duplication of data and therefore inconsistency in the data. And we want to step away from first normal form and get up to second normal form where we have less duplication. So here was our first normal form table, student info, where we recorded the first name, last name, date enrolled, major, course, and grade. The problem with this table, and there's several, but one of them is the course and grade are not dependent on the student. If you have a course like 110 Intro to Information Technology or something like that, it doesn't vary by the student. It's separate from the student. And by storing the information about a course inside the student record, that's what leads to the opportunity for inconsistencies. So what we're going to do is take this single table that holds information about courses and students, kind of all jammed into one, and we're going to turn it into a more of a second normal form approach where we have broken the single table into two. And that is a typical step in normalization, is to take a table with a lot of columns and break it apart. So now over here we have a table named courses taken, and it has the name of the course in it and the student's grade. And then over here in the student, we've narrowed down the amount of information. Now we have first name, last name, date enrolled. We also have the name of the major for the student. So what does this data look like in practice? Well, in the student table, rather the student major table, now we're recording the person's name only once, the person's enrolled date only once. So since we're storing the facts of last name, first name, date enrolled only one time in the system, there's no chance for them to be inconsistent. So there's no opportunity anymore in this system for a person's date enrolled to be wrong. Well, it may still be wrong, but you won't have two versions of it. You know, the other one was 805. Just to pop back to that, it was these two records right here where we had August 5th and May 8th. That would be a common typo for someone to make. Well, you can't do it here because we're storing the date enrolled only one place. So if you go to change it, it will be consistent because there's no possibility for duplication. Now, this table still has a problem, and that is it stores the major. The major isn't determined by the student. The major sits apart from the student. We'll fix that when we get to third normal form. But because we're storing major in more than one place, we have the opportunity for inconsistency. So these two students who are both majoring in information technology, we're storing that name, that fact of the major in more than one place, so it can become inconsistent as it does here. There's a problem like this over in courses taken. Now we have each row here is for one course taken by a student. So in this case, these three records are for student number one. That's this Jim Morrison. And these records down here are for student number two. That's Debbie Dutton, and then Bob Biggs is student number three. So for each course that a student takes, we've put a record in this table naming the course and giving the student's grade. That's better than jamming the whole thing into a single table like we had in first normal form, but it still has some problems because just the fact that a student takes a course doesn't allow the student to change the name of the course. But here we have college composition taken by student number one and college composition taken by student number two, and over here too. And look at there, all three of them are spelled a little bit differently. So we're duplicating the name of the course, and that opens the door to inconsistencies in the database. So what we'll do, we've made things better now because we're storing the student information in only one place, but we're still storing major in more than one place, and we're storing the name of the course in more than one place. So This is better than first normal form, but it's still a problem in second normal form. And that's what we'll correct next as we move on to third normal form.